Hey, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Technically Explained. In this lecture, we are going to talk about the digital logic families. For that, we need to first understand the ICs. Now, the digital circuits are constructed by the ICs. The digital ICs use logic gates which work only with the values of ones and zeros. Now, what is an IC or an integrated circuit? An integrated circuit is actually a small chip that can function as an amplifier, as an oscillator, as a timer, as a microprocessor, or even computer memory. So an IC is a small wafer that is usually made of silicon, and it can hold hundreds of millions of transistors, resistors, and capacitors. So these extremely small electronics can perform calculations and store data using either digital or analog technology. So we have two types of IC, the analog IC and the digital ICs. So if I interconnect resistors, capacitors and transistors in a single circuit, that makes it a discrete circuit. Why does it makes it a discrete circuit? Because in that circuit, components can be separated from each other when required. But if I permanently fabricate these components, if I permanently fabricate resistors, capacitor, transistors on a silicon material, it is called an IC, an integrated circuit, because then the circuit is integrated, the circuit components are non-separable. Now we have two types of ICs, analog ICs and digital ICs. Analog ICs work with continuous values. Op-amps, voltage regulators, timers are well-known examples of analog ICs. And these analog ICs are used in audio and radio frequency multiplication. Digital ICs use logic gates, the AND gate, NOR gate, NAND gate, etc. Common example of digital ICs or common use of digital ICs is in computer. Now there are many advantages of integrated circuits over discrete components. The first advantage is they are very small in size. The second advantage is that many complex circuits are fabricated in a single chip, and this simplifies the design process. They are also easily available because they are mass manufactured or bulk produced. They consume very less power. Their speed is very high, so they have high operating speed because of the absence of parasitic capacitance effect, and they are easily replaceable from the motherboard. Disadvantages are its heat dissipation property. So it does not dissipate heat as quickly as we would have liked. So whenever the high current flows to the IC, it will burn out, and because of that your mother circuit will not function properly. The second disadvantage is that you cannot use inductors and transformers on the ICs. You can only use resistors, capacitors and transistors on the integrated circuit, but not the inductors and transformers. Also remember that each integrated circuit has a numeric designation printed on the surface of the package for identification. For example, IC741. The 741 is the identification of the op-amp 741, and so on. Vendors or the sellers provides data books, catalogs and internet websites that contain description and information about the ICs that they manufacture. Now we learned that an IC has resistors, capacitors and transistors fabricated on a single unit. It might have less than 10 transistors, or it might have hundreds of thousands of transistors. Now based on the number of transistors or the number of components, we have different types of ICs. So based on the level of integration, ICs are the small scale integration, which are commonly called as the SSI. In SSI, or the small scale integration, the number of transistors incorporated in a single IC chip is up to 100, and the number of gates are less than 10. The next is the medium scale operation, also called as the MSI. In MSI, the number of transistors incorporated are between 100 to 1000. The next is the large scale integration, or LSI. In LSI, the number of transistors incorporated are from 1000 to 20,000. And then we have the very large scale integration, which is the VLSI. In VLSI, the number of transistors incorporated in a single chip is from 20,000 to 10 lakhs. And finally, we have the ultra large scale integration, which is called as the ULSI. In the ULSI, the number of transistors incorporated in a single IC chip are from 10 lakhs to 1 crore. Now, the digital ICs are classified on the basis of three types: the circuit complexity, logical operations, and the circuit technology. Circuit complexity we already have discussed, which consists of the small scale integration, medium scale, large scale, very large scale, and ultra large scale. The logic operation means that which is the defining or the basic or the fundamental gate of that IC. For example, whether the fundamental gate is the NAND gate, whether the fundamental gate is the NOR gate, or the fundamental gate is the NOT gate. So that defines the logic operations of that IC. The next is the circuit technology. Which technology is it using? Is it using the resistor transistor logic, the RTL technology, or is it using the diode transistor logic, the DTL technology, or it is using the TTL technology, which is the transistor logic? So circuit technology refers to which technology is the IC manufacturer using. Now, to classify the logic families, we have unipolar and bipolar. In unipolar devices, the current is due to the one type of charge carriers, whereas in bipolar devices the current is because of the both type of charge carriers, that is the holes and electrons. Now in unipolar devices we have the PMOS. PMOS stands for P channel MOSFET. We have the NMOS. NMOS stands for N channel MOSFET. And finally we have the CMOS, which stands for complementary MOSFET. So it is actually a combination of both PMOS and NMOS. Now in bipolar we have non-saturated and saturated. We know that bipolar devices has three regions of operation: the active region, the cutoff region, and the saturation region. Now in saturated technology we have three regions of operation, which is the cutoff, the saturated, and the active. But in non-saturated we have only the two regions of operation, which are the cutoff and active. The non-saturated are the Schottky TTL and the emitter coupled logic. Remember that the emitter coupled logic is the fastest technology. And in saturated we have the resistor transistor logic, the diode transistor logic, and the transistor logic. Remember that this resistor transistor logic and this diode transistor logic is obsolete. They are not used anymore, so they are not used in the present time. The TTL, the transistor logic, is still used in present. Similarly, the emitter coupled logic, because it is the fastest technology, is also used presently. So TECL or the emitter coupled logic is the fastest technology. Now there are certain characteristics of the digital ICs. Number one is the speed of operation, that depends on the propagation delay. Propagation delay is the average transition delay time for the signal to propagate from the input to the output when the signal change in value. So when the input value changes, how much time does the IC take to change its output value? That is the propagation delay. It is expressed in nanosecond, and actually this total propagation delay is dependent on two delays, which is the TPLH and the TPHL. This TPLH is the delay when the output switches from low to high, and this TPHL is the delay when the output switches from high to low. So this total propagation delay is the average of these two delays. Now an IC has a number of logic gates, so the propagation delay of the IC will be equal to the sum of the propagation delays of all the logic gates that are present in that IC. So the sum of the propagation delays of all the logic gates that are present in that IC will be the propagation delay of that IC. Next is the noise margin. Noise margin, it is the maximum noise voltage added to the input signal of a digital circuit that does not cause an undesirable change in the circuit output. So noise margin is the maximum input noise or the maximum input voltage that can be added to the input signal without change in the output of the circuit. So if the noise is that much that it changes the output of the circuit, then it exceeds the limit of the noise margin. But as long as it does not change the output of the circuit, that noise is within the noise margin. So noise margin is the maximum noise voltage that can be added to the input of a digital circuit without the change in the output of the circuit. It is expressed in watts. The power dissipation is simple, that is the amount of power dissipated in the integrated circuit. Fan out specifies the number of standard loads that the output of the gate can drive without impairment of its normal operation. So high fan out is advantageous because it reduces the need for additional drivers to drive more gates loads. So fan out is actually the number of other gates that can be connected to the output of the gate. So greater the fan out number, the better it is. Next is the fan in. Fan out is concerned with the output, fan in is concerned with the input. So fan in is the number of inputs connected to the gate without any degradation in the voltage levels. Next is the figure of merit. Figure of merit is actually the product of speed and power. And we know that we studied that speed is specified in terms of propagation delay, and the unit of the propagation delay was nanoseconds, and this power is actually expressed in milliwatt. So now the product of this nanosecond and milliwatt comes out to be the picojoule. So the unit of this figure of merit is going to be the picojoule. And lower the value of figure of merit, the better it is. So low value of figure of merit is desirable. We also have the next parameter or the next characteristics, which is the power supply requirements. The supply voltage and the amount of power required to properly operate the IC is called as the power supply requirement. And then we have the current and voltage parameters. How much current is required to properly operate the IC? How much voltage is required to properly operate the IC? All these parameters are called the characteristics of digital IC. Thank you.